We've had stories of children who are rescued, but that is very unique. A child rescued by a dog. Would tell us about that.
And we reported. We said the dogs brought this baby. We have never seen this. And the police officer in charge says, if the dogs brought the baby to you, who are we to take the baby away from you? Go keep the baby.
At what point did they break the news to you that, or at what point did you learn that you're not a biological child in that family?
Actually, I learned when I was about to celebrate my 20th birthday.
Okay.
Which was really sad. I mean, that was the worst gift, but I've come to love God more, I've come to realize this is the best gift. Because I realized that people gave me love that I didn't deserve. I was just about to celebrate my 20th birthday, and I had found a young man who said, I love you. He was the first person to tell me he loves me. And so I felt, because I didn't exactly understand what love is, I had experienced a lot that I didn't know what to be loved means. So I told him, if you seriously love me, I want to take you to my mom. Please go and tell me in front of her that you love me. So we came home, and he was so courageous. He tells me in front of my mom, Rachel, I love you. And then my mom was like, eh? And I told him, Mom, I've got a friend who wants to tell you something. And then I looked at him, please tell my mom. But instead of Mama Margaret celebrating, she started crying, which really broke my heart. Like, you don't want anybody to love me. And then this friend of mine left. Among the visitors, there's a lady who does not stop crying. And I'm like, why is this lady so emotional? At the time the visitors are leaving, the lady is left behind. And then she tells me, I want to see you. I'm like, why do you want to see me? The lady tells me, I have got something to tell you. She continues to cry. And I tell her, if you've got something to tell me quick. Then she says, I'll tell you. I tell her, tell me. Something in me provokes me to ask her, or are you the mother to the newest baby I'm having? Are you the one who abandoned? Then the lady tells me, yes. And she breaks down in tears.
That is my hands up, I silent. I gonna sing a song and then I do like this. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I gonna stand up like a soldier. Is my hands up, I silent. I gonna sing a song and then I do like this. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I gonna stand up like a soldier. Is my hands up, I silent. I gonna sing a song and then I do like this.
Let these girls who get pregnancy through rape, through incest, instead of killing or abandoning these children, let's get a process whereby you can deliver and give up your baby responsibly. Give up your baby bearing in mind that life belongs to God and life is sacred. And I thought everything was okay until he couldn't bear again. There was pressure because I was going through my education, and then there were conditions because you are from here, because you are doing this, and there was a lot of pressure from his family, and we ended up separating. And we separated. Unfortunately, we separated when I was 6 months pregnant, and I didn't know. God had created me in a way I even don't know whether I'm expectant or not.
You're watching High Step TV.
Are you married? Or you're dating? Do you even have plans of ever getting married? Or you are single by choice? Join me, Helen Kibali, on The Bond Show on YouTube channel High Step TV as we dive deep into matters relationships, marriage, and parenting, and how these bonds affect our relationship with God. Let us learn together on ways we can improve and build strong, healthy relationships in the right foundation.
The Bond Show. Beautiful people, godly bonds.
Oh, Bonding Nation, welcome to yet another episode of The Bond Show on High Step TV. I am your host, Helen Kibali, and today I am privileged, super excited, elated to have a very, very beautiful woman of God. She is a pastor, she is a mother, a director, and also a father to many, to over 100 kids. Yes, over 100, a mother and a father. So I'm super excited. I'll let her introduce herself to you guys. Karibu on the show.
Asante sana.
Yes, can you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Hi viewers, my name is Rachel Wanjiru. Currently I'm a pastor in the End Time El Shaddai Ministries Church, serving under Senior Pastor Charles Njuguna. And I'm also running this home as the director of the home, which is Makime Children's Home, located in Kikuyu, Gitaru, a place known as Gitaru Mlango Soko, just behind the Gitaru Market.
Yes. Oh, and the place is beautiful, by the way. She has very beautiful kids. I've seen all of them, and I must say, you have a big heart, Rachel. I am touched today. I think today was one of those days that God spoke to me through you.
Wow.
Yes, I am. You must have a very big heart to do what you're doing, and I appreciate what you're doing, and I acknowledge the efforts that you've put in this home.
Thank you.
I understand that you are the firstborn in this home. How did you get here?
Yes, you're correct, Helen. I'm the firstborn of this home.
Yeah.
But this I learned when I was just about to celebrate my 20th birthday. I grew up with Mama Margaret, who is the founder of the home. She's the lady who started the home. But when she took me in, it wasn't a children's home. It wasn't to be a children's home. It was just a gesture of goodwill, how she helped me. I was a victim of a road accident that took away my parents.
Oh.
That's how I came in the home after a process of healing in Kenyatta Hospital. And just to take you back a little bit, I wasn't the way I am. My legs were fractured. I've been a crippled girl. I've mutated bit by bit. Just before I came to be who I am today, I was from a wheelchair to crutches to walking stick to how I walk today by God's grace. And my life here, it wasn't a children's home because Makime was registered as a children's home in the year 2006. After the government realized Mama was taking in so many children. And as the children were coming, you see, you can't keep children in your home for long. That's when it was registered. So me, as I was growing up, it wasn't a children's home. But I am the foundation of the children's home because I was the first girl who got in here through the unfortunate incident that left me who I am today.
How old were you?
Mama tells me I was slightly about 1.5 years.
1.5.
Nobody knows exactly my age actually, but they guess between 1.5, 2 years at most.
And you said through the accident that you lost your parents, you fractured your legs.
Legs, actually limbs, let me call them limbs because it was down. But yeah.
So how long were you in that state?
I stayed because I can recall my journey. At one point, I stayed in Kenyatta National Hospital for so long, for about 13 months, because there was surgery after surgery after surgery after surgery. I remember one time when they would insert metal plates in my body, and then my body refuses to agree with the metal plates. They have to remove, and it became my home. But through thick and thin, I fought through.
God is faithful.
There's a God in heaven.
Your testimony is so inspiring, Rachel. Take us a little bit back on now that your mother, Mama Margaret, has taken you in and she's taking care of you. How was your childhood like?
My childhood was a bit difficult automatically because during my growing up days, when you had, let me call it what they were calling it then, when you had a disability, you were more of a liability than an asset in any home. Because the only thing that I would do, I would drain finances from the home. I didn't have friends, I didn't have social life. And especially being a girl and you are crippled, nobody got so much interest in you. But in the home, I experienced much love from Mama. And there was a lady known as Beatrice. She was I refer to her as my twin sister. She went to be with the Lord in the year 2012 through a road accident. And through an electricity accident when she was in Germany pursuing her master's. But this girl has been my buddy all through. Whether I'm in wheelchair, she would even sleep with me. So there was love given, and it made me believe I belonged in the home. So even when my story was given, I was like, do I believe, do I not believe? because they gave me so much love that only parents can give.
How did you get to, because you told us they took you in when you were about a year or so.
Yeah.
At what point did they break the news to you that, or at what point did you learn that you're not a biological child in that?
Actually, I learned when I was about to celebrate my 20th birthday.
Okay.
Which was really sad. I mean, that was the worst gift, but I've come to love God more, I've come to realize this is the best gift. Because I realized that people gave me love that I didn't deserve. I was just about to celebrate my 20th birthday, and I had found a young man who said, I love you. He was the first person to tell me he loves me.
Oh.
And so I felt, because I didn't exactly understand what love is, I had experienced a lot that I didn't know what to be loved means. So I told him, if you seriously love me, I want to take you to my mom. Please go and tell me in front of her that you love me. So we came home, and he was so courageous. He tells me in front of my mom, Rachel, I love you. And then my mom was like, eh? And I told him, Mom, I've got a friend who wants to tell you something. Then I looked at him, please tell my mom. But instead of Mama Margaret celebrating, she started crying, which really broke my heart. Like, you don't want anybody to love me. And then this friend of mine left, and that is when Mama broke the news to me, which really broke my heart. Really broke my heart. And there's one person I trusted who is my late grandmother, the lady I'm named after. I had to send a message to her because I wanted to know the truth from her. But when she came, the first word she said was, did you tell, she called me Wanjiro, did you tell Wanjiro? And so that one confirmed in me that whatever these people were telling me was the truth. Yes. Actually, it was sad, and this one has really inspired my life, even in the children I'm bringing up. At a certain age, we have to let them know their identity. That doesn't mean they don't love you, but it's very important to let someone know their identity. Because when somebody breaks it when it is too late, or somebody else breaks it, trust is broken. And again, there's a lot of pain when you know your story, when you're already, you see, I had acquired an identity, and when Mama was starting to rescue other children, I was telling them they're intruding our privacy. I also was not a very good girl, because when they started coming to our bedrooms, I would tell them, no, Mama, you cannot intrude our privacy. You can't bring these strangers in our bed. But if I had known earlier on, I would maybe a little bit kind to the others, knowing that somebody else gives her space for me.
Okay, all right. Now, you've told us that you were told the news before your 20th birthday, and of course you were taking someone to your mom, a person that told you they love you. Are you married?
Currently, I am not married. But it's important to say I got married, at not the same person, but after some years I got married, and I got married to a pastor. But along the way, things didn't work between me and him, and we separated 13 years ago.
Okay.
And because of my love for God, actually as I was growing up, I was saying, if I'll ever get married, the person who dates me first, I get married to him. And this is what happened, and I got married, and I thought everything was okay until he couldn't bear again. There was pressure because I was going through my education, and then there were conditions because you are from here, because you are doing this, and there was a lot of pressure from his family, and we ended up separating.
All right.
And we separated. Unfortunately, we separated when I was 6 months pregnant. And I didn't know. God had created me in a way, I even don't know whether I'm expectant or not. It was 6 months. The doctor said it is about 6 months. The only changes I was having, I was getting a better shape. I was becoming round shape. And when I came home, that's when I realized I was 6 months expectant. And it was a hard journey. And I didn't know that God was with me. These are the times friends tell you, you can't keep a baby of a person who has abandoned you. But I fought through, and I gave birth on the 14th of October 2009 to my son.
Wow.
God gave me a bouncing baby boy that I named Benny.
All right. Okay.
So currently, like I've just said, I'm separated and I am fine. Yes.
You're comfortable.
I'm comfortable. I'm waiting upon God. You see, God is not finished with me yet.
Yes, of course.
God is not finished with
and
me
you're
yet.
still very young.
And I also tell people, if one thing fails, don't die there.
True.
There's another thing. There's life and raha jipe mwenyewe.
Of course.
But
And on this show, of course, guys, you know that we encourage, we believe so much into marriage, and we also believe that people can choose to be single. So she's single by choice, and she's comfortable in it. So usilete nini. So tell us.
it's important, Helen, to tell our viewers that there's a saying among the Kikuyus that if a cooking steak breaks,
Yes.
that's not the end of
The
you
end.
cooking ugali.
Yes.
Ugali bado iko.
Yes.
And marriage is good. As a pastor, I believe marriage is ordained by God.
Yes.
And marriage is good. And meaning that one marriage doesn't work. Doesn't mean you die there.
Yes.
Doesn't mean you hate God. Doesn't mean you hate the other gender. It means that there's yet another chance because we are serving a God of another chance.
True.
Yes.
And it's important that you've said that, because we've seen people staying in abusive marriages and marriages that you live but you're bitter, you're not yourself, you are oppressed, there's a lot of anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
And we are saying you don't have to die in that marriage.
True. You don't have to die there.
And you don't have to wait until someone picks a knife or hurts you or your children for you to walk out. You can walk out amicably and go live your life. Yes, live your life. Rachel.
Yes.
Now that we are here, I've seen a lot of children here. Oh my God. Guys, this woman has a big heart. Mimi, I don't know if I would be able, but God anaweza kunipea grace. God has really graced you. There are a lot of kids here. Some are disabled, some are good, and we would want to know, how do you get these kids?
Helen, if you allow me, just before I tell you how we receive these kids, through the many, I've served in this home for 10 years. A little bit of my life, just a bit, I went to university. And when I was in my second year, I made a vow to God because life had started showing me the bitter part. But still, because I loved God I got saved when I was a class 8 girl, and I've trusted God the rest of my life. And I said, if I get a first class honors, I'll come and serve here. And this is what God did. And as I come, I've realized, just as we were talking about marriage, marriage, if it doesn't work like you have said, some children are in this home as a result of bad marriages.
True.
And then people, instead of giving the sanctity, life the sanctity it deserves, because they're in a bad marriage, they decide the product of marriage to maybe kulipisha kizazi to the children. So, like you just said, let people know that if Helen, we can't match, we have children, they are gifts from God, and we need to take care of them. Personally, I've taken care of my children. I'm a mother of 2. I've taken care of my children despite whatever happened. Now, the children we have here, when the home was registered, we were taking in a number of children who were abused, some in the families. Because abuse starts when parents cannot co-work together. And then we were taking care of children who are neglected. And then we had the orphaned, automatically the ones whose parents die, and they found themselves here. But along the line, 9 years ago, we realized a very special category of children, like the ones you have just seen. These children are the ones we are referring to as the abandoned. The abandoned children, they are born, but they are abandoned between the age of 4 hours to 3 days. The ones we receive, all of them, they are abandoned between 4 hours to the age of 3 days. This happens because people decided they can be together, but they don't want to take care of what they have brought up. Most of the children you have seen here, like the youngest you saw, that baby was abandoned next to a river where safari ants infested him. They fed on his lips, his nose, his eyes, but by God's grace, he was saved by some farmers. And it's a journey of life. So all the children you see here, I am believing if in our society we can create an awareness on marriage, parenting, and the sanctity of life. Because again, even if you don't want this child, don't abandon for them to die. There are so many avenues. You can give them up for adoption because so many parents are looking for children. I receive thousands of mothers coming here to ask whether they can carry the babies with them. But again, they have to follow the legal procedure.
Before I get into adoption and how you're able to take care of them, because I want to believe this is a calling. You did not just wake up like this and decide, now let me just take care of these children. And as I said, you must have a big heart. How did you now get into put it in yourself that now this is what I want to do? How did you get there?
Okay, it happened that along the way, I had special love for children. Even before I got married, I loved children. There was, even in church, when I was a youth, I was a Sunday school teacher. But I had never dreamt that one time I'll do what you have seen me do. But it was just a call from God as I was taking care of this, as I was taking care of my child. This is when I realized that children are a blessing. Actually, we should see children as blessings, not as burdens. Because my son didn't become a burden to me. He became a blessing to me. And the way I loved him, I found some orphans, and I would just give them a shoulder to lean on. I would embrace them. Because I realized what lacks in most children is love. And proper parenting calls for love. And love is not pampering, Helen. Love is that genuineness of heart. And wanting to meet this child, there's a meeting point. The child has a need, you also have a need. You come to a central place where you give love. And love is paramount. When you give, like I've been giving love here, once you give love, you find they can be able to open up to you, especially the ones we rescued when they were older. They open up to you and you're able to understand. Why parenting is failing is because there's a need you are not able to meet. All the parents are very busy. You want to cover up your responsibility. You want to cover up with gifts and some other things. So I just found myself, I was bringing up the orphans and the neglected, but there was one category that really hurt me. I think is where the call came from, the abused. We were rescuing girls and boys. Some were victims of sodomy. But there was a category of girls that were victims of incest, sexual abuse from their uncles and their fathers. And because the hearts were bleeding, I became so close to them. And in campus, I tackled child psychology, dance and counseling. And I was able to bring them closer to accepting themselves again and to regaining their self-esteem. And as days went by, in the year, just 9 years ago, that's when I realized this other category. I also never thought I would ever bring up a young child like the young as you have seen. But one thing leads to another. My love for the children, and especially for the ones who are going through tough times, brought me to where I am today.
You have a big heart.
It's by God's grace.
Just say that. You said that some are children that wametupwa. Wengine are neglected at home, wengine wako abused. Do you have any therapy or any counseling that you take the children through, especially the older ones that I've seen, having gone through all that in their homes and the neglect and the abuse? Do you have any counseling sessions that to help them overcome that and grow into positive adults?
Yes, that one has to be in place. Like the ones who have gone through sexual abuse, either sodomy, incest, or whichever case. Some of them were very bad. We had to take them to Nairobi Women Hospital, and we had to engage psychology counselors. They would come and talk to them, help them to overcome. Because we had a specific case, and this girl was abused by a gang of motorbike guys. And anytime this girl would see a motorbike or hear that sound of a motorbike, she would collapse. So some of these cases are very serious. You have to engage counselors, and they have walked the journey with them. But now these things have changed, because since 9 years ago, we changed our mission. We only now rescue the abandoned, those ones abandoned at birth. And these ones are easy to deal with because they grow knowing you as mama. We ran the home with my mom, the lady you saw, Mama Margaret, and they love calling us mom. And now we have taken up another role of parenting, of bringing up all these young children. With them now, as they grow, you just need to understand at the stage of life where it is okay to tell them their story. With this, they don't need a lot of counseling because you grow up with them, but at one point you let them know you never gave birth like biologically to them, but you have got a big heart for them. They can stay with you. They can call you whatever they want to call you because they choose. There are some you will find they are so much inclined to me, they call me Mama, but some call Mama Margaret Mama, depending now with how they see us. Some of them call me sister, they call Mama Mama, but the very tiny ones, you hear them calling me Mama. With those ones, as you bring them up, what we've decided, these are home. I just believe like I'm just another woman who would be married, and by God's grace, this woman gets more than 50 children. And when you get them, you give them the love, the support, and the care that they need.
Do you get kids that are brought here, or do you bring in kids that have chronic illnesses, and how do you handle that?
Yes, we do. What happens? The issues surrounding abandonment, there are many of them. They run from economic crisis, especially during the COVID period. Others, they run from early pregnancies. They're the ones we used to call the unwanted pregnancies. Others are women who are married. They get pregnant out of wedlock or out of their marriage. And when they realize that, like some of them, I came to understand, if you get pregnant when your partner is away, you don't want to bring that child home. Or you're still married and you get an affair. Like we have a child, we believe the mother got an affair with an Asian. And she knew this child might be born when he or she is not the color of my husband, and marriage will end. So this child was born in a hospital just few weeks before the term, and then he was abandoned in a garbage pit. So why am I bringing in this? These children, some parents are even HIV positive. Some of them have got some generational things. When these children come, we've received a baby who had a heart condition. She had a hole in the heart. And we realized when she was about 5-6 months, and you have to take them to hospital. We raised funds, we called our friends, we put her on Facebook, and by God's grace, a friend read the post in Facebook, connected us to Matt Hartran, and also connected us to Safaricom. And they helped us do this. And the girl went through the surgery, now she's well. Another category we receive, kids that are abandoned at birth. They come when some of them are HIV positive. And you see, it is not a criminal offense. This child is innocent. What we do, we test them when they come. After testing, we are working with the Leatoto program, especially the one in Kangemi. Once we realize a child is HIV positive, we just put them on ARVs. Once you put them on ARVs, it's only for 18 months. And by God's grace, majority of them have turned negative. You just follow what the doctors are telling you. For this period of time, strictly feed on infant formula. And once you follow the directions, you give them medications as directed. I've got like 7 who have turned. Now they are HIV negative. Again, it's important to say, even if a child doesn't turn negative, he or she has a right to live. So just live with them, knowing this is their condition. And then when they grow, there's an age whereby you get and you let them know. Let them know. Because they have questions. They will always ask you, why am I always on medication? Why is so and so not taking medication I'm taking? Now here, like we said, parenting is challenging. You have to sit them down. Let them know they are unique. But despite your being unique, you have a condition that you will survive on medication. So we grow up with them and we love them. Unfortunately, there are some we have lost along the way. Like we had a boy who was HIV positive and developed a brain tumor. We did all we could. But at one point, we went even to Aga Khan and all these hospitals. But at one point, the doctors told us that this boy has got 31 days to live. You can imagine how traumatizing it was for all of us. And true to their word, our brother passed on the 31st day. It's challenging, but God's grace has been sufficient.
And as I was preparing for the show, you told me something and it really touched my heart. I want our viewers to know, have you ever had cases, apart from that one boy, have you ever had other cases where you have a child or you've been called to rescue a child and they come to you and you connect, you bond with that child, and you are hopeful that now you're going to raise the child and they're going to get home, or they get sick. And like last week, you were admitted with 2, and I was talking to you, and you're telling me, Helena, okay, do you get kids that maybe are sick, or you've rescued them and then they die in your care?
It happens, Helen. And even before I tell you what happens, this is one of the hardest moments of my life. Because any child we rescue, anytime we are caught by the police, by the administration, even by good Samaritans, anytime a child is brought to us, our hearts are out to bring up this child to become what God wanted them to become. Because we have a policy here, we believe that we are born for a reason. No matter where you are born, no matter how you are born, you are here for a purpose. So anytime we receive a child, our aim and our hope is to bring them up until they grow, they become what God wanted them to become. But abandonment is bad. Parents abandon babies in polythene bags. Thank God they have been banned. They also abandon them without clothes, in toilets, in plantations, in drainage pipes, name the worst places. And like we have got so many of them who have been rained on the whole night. The first thing, most of the things that happen when these children come, they suffer from pneumonia. And I can't even count the number of times I've been admitted in the hospital with them. Unfortunately, some don't make it. Some succumb. Many other occasions I rush to the hospital. I'm holding the baby. They are put on oxygen. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm praying for them. Unfortunately, these children die in my hands. And these are the lowest moments. If I can say the very lowest moments of my life is when I've lost a child. We've lost 9. And it hits at me. It hits back at the home. Because anytime a child comes in here, we believe it's a family. And actually you hear all of them say, baby brother or baby sister. And then when they die, remember we've gone to the hospital. There are hospital bills to be taken care of. Leave alone the hospital bills. It's painful. I've gone to the hospital holding a baby in my arms. And then I'm coming home holding the baby shows. It breaks my heart. It has happened so many times. And once it happens, you see, she is my child or she's a child of this home. We have to do the funeral program and everything. We do just like the other viewers and the families do. Once a baby passes on, we conduct the services, we conduct the funeral, we get where the child will be buried and we do everything. But these are the lowest moments, the very, very lowest moment of our lives. And I remember in 2019, it was a very bad year for us. We lost 4 babies. We rescued at birth. One was 10 months, 8 months, 4 months, and one was 3 days. And that was the lowest point of my life. Until I remember our spiritual leaders. We had our bishop, the late Bishop Deborah. She passed on last year. And it was painful to all of us. And we asked God, through her and our senior pastor Charles, we prayed that God, let death stop in this home. Because let me tell you, death is draining. You can't put your effort somewhere and then these children die. So we prayed, and there's a God who answers prayers. Since 2019, God answered our prayers. Even the child you saw, even the photos you were seeing and you were like, he's not alive, God is able to bring them back, because I believe we made a prayer. And we have not lost any child, and we have got more strength. Personally, I've got an inner drive that even more are abandoned, I'm ready to bring them up.
Now, before I go to the most important question about the whole interview, to me, what I've seen maybe probably might be a very big challenge to you. Before I get there, I want to know which is the youngest you've ever rescued? How old or are they?
The youngest? The youngest we have ever rescued was 4 hours. This baby reached to our hands because the doctor, I'm not a medic, but the doctors were able to tell us this baby is 4 hours. What happened? A mother gave birth to a child. I don't know what kind of a mother this was. She gave birth to a baby, with the placenta intact and everything, you know, the placenta, the umbilical cord, and the baby. The baby was so tiny. And then she bought a polythene bag, put the baby inside, and threw the baby on a fence, a live fence, like the Keyepo fence. And you see, Keyepo has got thorns. The thorns pierced on the plastic bag, it gave way, and the baby fell amongst the thorns. And when this was amongst the thorns pricked his body. And from the prickings, the baby cried. And because nobody was able to get the baby from the fence, they had to call the area chief. The area chief is Chief Joshua Kimemia. The chief called the administration police. And then when they were called, they came, they cut. You see, nobody can ask the police why you are cutting the fence. They cut the fence, they removed the baby. And men out there, please cheer up. Let men know how to do these things. They didn't know how to do it. They carried the baby, the placenta, and they were bringing to us. But an old grandmother meets them along the way, chops off the placenta with her panga. She was going to cut napier grass. And then here we are. They bring a baby that the umbilical cord is tied with an old dirty sisal string. That was the youngest. And the baby was purplish navy blue in color. I also never thought the baby would survive. After going to the hospital, some medical examinations taken here and there, the baby is here. So tiny, he's 6 years, so tiny but very intelligent. That's a miracle on its own.
Wow. Your story is wow. I'm getting goosebumps all over.
Please be encouraged.
You have a very big heart. Wow.
Really?
Okay. All through, from this interview, from the moment we started, we are hearing about you bringing in a baby, you taking the babies to the hospital, taking care of them, some being admitted, some needing very special care. And of course, we are not blind to the fact that all these things need finances. My dear, how do you manage all these things? How do you maneuver?
Let me start by saying, whenever there's a will, there's a way. It hasn't been easy. It has been challenging, especially in the areas of medical care and education. It has been challenging, but despite the challenges, we've got success stories here because we've been fighting through thick and thin. We have had, I thank God for Kenyans out there. People have come to the realization that every life matters, no matter what. As I was growing up, we didn't have many people visiting the orphanages. They would only do so during Easter and December holidays. But nowadays, we're having men and women coming. We're having well-wishers. We're having people coming. We're having friends coming. And people coming to support this cause. So we get donations from well-wishers, from churches, from communities, and from friends. And then it has happened that I met a lady who became a friend of this home. And when she came to this home, she was from the outside country. She said, I'll be supporting some primary school children. That's one support we are getting. We also have another lady friend from Sweden who supports the high schoolers with her friends. Supports high schoolers and from time to time supports us with food.
Okay.
Yeah. But medical care, we've tried NHIF, we've tried insurances, and there's a major request, if Helen, with your permission, you allow me to ask. There's a request we make to the government and to people who can help. These children, when they get sick, they don't have the NHIF cover like the rest. But if somebody can hold our hand, because I've tried on my own, it has not been possible. If somebody can hold our hand, help us get NHIF cover for these children, the burden will become easier to bear.
So any government official out there, if you hear our cry and our plea, kindly help us, help the people running the children's home to get NHIF covers, and of course make it very affordable and friendly. We'll appreciate that. God bless you. Rachel, we've had stories of children who are rescued, but that is very unique. A child rescued by a dog. Would tell us about that?
How did I forget to tell you that? How we changed our mission statement, because we were rescuing. Remember, I told you we were rescuing the neglected, the abused, and the orphaned. But we came to change our mission statement when it happened 9 years ago. I've been mentioning 9 years ago. Something unique happened. That we were living in a place known as Kanyarere, to be very specific, a place known as Greenbelt. Most people call it Greenbelt, Rukubi area. And a baby was rescued by a group of dogs. It was around 3-4 a.m. and we were sleeping. It was raining. And then once we were asleep, there was a cry. And you saw one of our girls who has cerebral palsy, about 16 years. And we thought it was her. We attended the babies there. And we went back to bed, but there was a constant cry. So we told Mama that somebody is crying. We got out, it was raining, but the dogs were barking. Our gate by then was made of iron sheets, and the dogs were scratching the gate. So on coming out, a group of dogs were fighting. We had a group of 7 dogs and 2 dogs fighting. But amidst the dogs, there was a black polythene bag. And the cry was coming from that bag. And our mom, Mama Margaret, was first to snatch the bag. And the dogs that were guarding the bag scratched her because I think they wanted to guard the bag. On getting the bag, she tore the bag. Akairarua na mikono yake akamwaga chini. On pouring on the ground, there was a baby, a newborn baby. The placenta was there. God, there was blood, there was water. And the dogs that came, they came from a neighbor, a lady I can't fear to mention. May God rest her soul in peace. She rested last year. Her name was Mama Muroki. She was a neighbor. She didn't know us, but her dogs had rescued this baby and pulled the baby all the way from where the baby was abandoned to our gate. Now, this baby, Mama told me, Rachel, it's like a baby. Put some warm water in the basin. We put the baby to make the baby warm. Mama had not checked even the umbilical cord. I warmed the water, put the baby in so that the temperatures can rise, and the water turned red. You know what Mama said? Rachel, in Kiswahili, allow me to say it, aka ni kajini, because blood and baby, and we have never seen it. But Mama realized the umbilical cord was not tied. So she tore the piece of our house curtain, tied the umbilical cord. We didn't have even baby clothes. We loved the baby, but we named him Moses, because we said he has been drawn out of the waters. The baby bag was the one that comes from Deacon's shop. So somebody had really wanted this baby to die. And then we just wrapped the baby with all the wrappings we had this time. And we waited for morning to come. It was about 4 a.m. Morning comes 6 o'clock. We tell each other, let's go to the police and report. We went to a police post known as Kanyarere Police Post, and we reported. We said, the dogs brought this baby. We have never seen this. And the police officer in charge says, if the dogs brought the baby to you, who are we to take the baby away from you? Go keep the baby. So that is baby Moses. We went with baby Moses at home, and baby Moses was a defining moment for this home. He's the one who made us change our mission statement. We no longer rescue all the others I mentioned. We measure with the abandoned. So we started there. I personally didn't know how to bring up such a tiny baby abandoned. And then that's how we learned this infant formula that you have seen us use. So we started the journey of infant formula there. Can I tell you something, Helen? Your destiny is in God's hands. This baby was abandoned, but as we speak right now, this baby got adopted by a pastor who was a pastor in the Kingdom Seekers Fellowship, who was in Nakuru, and currently all of them are living in California.
Wow.
They got citizenship for the US. Wow. And Moses was the first case. Along the way, dogs have become more human than human beings. Right now, we've got 2 more babies that have been rescued by dogs. One was rescued in the Goto forest, and he even has a dog bite in his hand, because I think the dogs were trying to rescue him, but again, because he was stuck among the thickets, the dogs had to use their teeth. That's how he got a dog bite, and the dogs pulled him out. The third one was abandoned in a plot. Easy plot ambazo nyumba zinajengwa za lines, and there's a garbage pit near the gate. A mother gives birth, covers the baby amongst the garbage. As dogs were looking for food, they find the baby. he got scratches all over his body. Actually, the neighbors who got the baby brought the baby to us even before we reported to the police. They thought he can only be alive here, so we reported to the police, and the boys are doing well. Unfortunately, ni boy child peke yake. And allow me to talk to the viewers. A lot of emphasis have been put on the girl child. We are girls yes, here with Helen, and we really appreciate that we got this opportunity. But don't take care of the girl child and forget the boy child. If you look at the population of this home, 78% are boys.
Yes, true.
Boy child, we need actually, and this myth of saying if you are a single lady and you are a mother to a boy, you cannot get married. It's just a myth. Let's take care of our boy children.
True.
Yeah.
We put emphasis on the boy, both genders actually. Yes.
Yeah, both genders, but again, we don't forget the boy child. Because again, I don't understand why we say men are the pillars, men are the leaders, the seed is in the man. But if this rate of abandonment continues, there will be trouble in the future of our society and even of our nation. Yeah.
True. And then you know the man is the priest of the home.
Imagine.
So if you're not taking good care of our boys, we are doomed.
Yes, we are. We need to take care of them. Yeah.
Do you ever get, have you ever rescued a baby or gotten any child on board, and then their parents, after some time, their parents come to...
It happens. Especially, we need to understand, like, I remember President Uhuru saying that mental health is becoming an issue in this nation.
And it is.
We rescued a baby that was abandoned. Let me give this one example, because we have had many. Parents are found, but we thank the government. Because once the parents are arrested, you have to go through the legal process before your baby is given back to you.
True.
Now, we rescued a baby and we stayed with the baby. And one time, we are here and visitors have come. We are showing the visitors the babies. Among the visitors, there's a lady who does not stop crying. And I'm like, why is this lady so emotional? At the time the visitors are leaving, the lady is left behind. And then she tells me, I want to see you. I'm like, why do you want to see me? The lady tells me, I have got something to tell you. She continues to cry. And I tell her, if you've got something to tell me quick. Then she says, I will tell you. I tell her, tell me. Something in me provokes me to ask her, are you the mother to the newest baby I'm having? Are you the one who abandoned? Then the lady tells me, yes. And she breaks down in tears. So, Helen, I'm torn between two. Do I? Because the baby was very young, he needed the mother's milk. But according to the government laws, I'm not supposed to give back the baby. The mother must face the legal system. And then she tells me, please give me back my baby. It's only that the father abandoned me and I had to take care of myself. He abandoned me when I was in labor. He told me he's going for a vehicle to come and take me to the hospital, and he disappeared. Then I took myself to the hospital. I gave birth. Nobody even brought me tea in the hospital. I then lapped my baby in the clothes I had. I went back home. And because I was very bitter with this baby, I took all my 3 babies and abandoned them in a maize plantation. But because 2 were older, they walked back to the home. And they decided, we don't want that one because he's the one who has brought us problems. So we had to go to the district children's officer, the police, and we had to solve her case. We realized she was going into depression. We stayed with the baby for 6 months as the mother was going through counseling, probation officer, and all this kind of a thing. Eventually, we gave up her baby. So some of these abandonment are as a result of failed marriages and people not taking their responsibilities.
And as you mentioned, mental health has become like a crisis, not only in Kenya but worldwide.
Yeah.
And most people don't acknowledge, or maybe they don't know, that they are suffering from mental health. So it's something that we ask the government and we ask everyone, if you're a sister or a cousin or a friend to anyone who you suspect might be going through mental health issues, kindly support them, get them help as soon as possible.
Sure.
Because these cases normally happen as a result of that. And we thank you so much, Rachel. Viewers, we are going on a short break. We'll be back after this break.
This is High Step Media Production.
Je, wewe ni msanii na ungependa kuchukua hatua kabambe katika kuboresha usanii wako? Je, wewe ni msanii mpya usiyejua utaanza vipi katika kufanikisha usanii wako? Je, wahitaji kufanyiwa video za harusi, matukio, dokumentari, au pia kutengenezewa filamu na kupigwa picha? High Step Media ina majibu kwa masuala haya yote kwa bei rahisi. Tutembelee pale Homeland au wasiliana nasi kwa njia ya simu kupitia nambari 0706299166. Karibu.
Kazi yao wanafanya ni kazi nzuri sana. Nimefurahia sana kazi ambao wanafanya.
Come High Step Media Production. You never know, you can be a star of tomorrow.
Step Media kwanza wana upendo, ni wakarimu sana. Na kama ni wakarimu ndio maana tumefika hapa tumefika.
You're watching High Step TV.
Are you married? Or you're dating? Do you even have plans of ever getting married? Or you are single by choice? Join me, Helen Kibali, on The Bond Show on YouTube channel High Step TV as we dive deep into matters relationships, marriage, and parenting, and how these bonds affect our relationship with God. Let us learn together on ways we can improve and build strong, healthy relationships in the right foundation.
The Bond Show. Beautiful people, godly bonds.
Fly, fly, fly in the castle of my heart. In the castle of my heart. In the castle of my heart. I gotta fly, fly, fly in the castle of my heart. And the king is the resident. He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 He's got the little tiny baby. Yeah, in his hands. He's got the little tiny baby. Yeah, in his hands. He's got the little tiny baby. In his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got you and me. In his hands. He's got you and me. In his hands. He's got you and me. In his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Heavenly Father. Heavenly Father, you are wonderful. You are marvelous. You are excellent. We worship you, Lord, because you're wonderful. And you make us sing a song. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I gonna stand up like a soldier, raise my hands up, I silent. I gonna sing a song and then I do like this. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I gonna stand up like a soldier, raise my hands up, I silent. I gonna sing a song and then I do like this. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I gonna stand up like a soldier, raise my hands up, I silent. I gonna sing a song and then I do like this. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I gonna stand up like a soldier, raise my hands up, I silent. I gonna sing a song and then I do like this. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I gonna stand up like a soldier, raise my hands up, I silent. I gonna sing a song and then I do them all. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I am a fearfully, wonderfully made. I gonna stand up like a soldier, raise my hands up, I surrender. I gonna sing a song and then I say stop. Wow.
Welcome back on the show. This is The Bond Show on High Step TV, where we discuss issues of marriage, godly dating, godly courtship, divorce, and of course, parenting. And today, our parent is a beautiful woman. I'm so inspired. I'm touched by how humble she is, how kind she is. She has a big heart because she takes good care of kids that are not biologically hers. Hey, Kizungu. But we thank God for her. Before we went on the break, she was telling us a lot about how they rescue the kids, how they take care of the kids, and we would want to know. I know this question is in your heads and in your hearts. Do we get, and before we go how to where they go after here, how are you able to school them? How are you able to give them education, given the circumstances and also the financial struggles? I'm a parent. I know how hard it is to pay fees for your kid, and you have many. How do you manage to pay fees for them?
Like I said, Helen, we thank God for people out there, because we started with taking them to school, and the normal thing of telling the teachers, we will pay. We will pay until the term comes to an end. Another one starts, there's no payment. And in some schools, they were sent away. At one time, they were schooling at home because we didn't have finances to pay for them. Until a change came, we took them to one public school whereby the teachers didn't handle them so well. Especially then, they were the girls that were victims of rape and abuse from the families. And we had teachers abusing them personally. Like one of our girls, she was not able to do homework, and the teacher was telling her, you are a woman even more than myself and you can't do my homework. And so the children started retreating from school. We pulled them out from school, we brought them to home. We started, I have been a teacher by profession, I didn't say. Before I came to pastoring and being full-time here, I have been a teacher by profession. So we started teaching them in the home until God sent us one man of God. I can mention here, Reverend Menai of ACK Kanyarere. Then, he's a man who came and said that we will take 10. Actually, he said, the number I found here in ACK Kanyarere Primary School, we are going to take 10 in and educate them. That's where our journey started. And from there, the kids, we started taking them to schools, and this one became a home for them, like your children. They go to school, they come back home. We've had friends, at times it's very challenging. At times you sign in our visitors book, and the next time I'm saying, hi, we are lacking school fees. Can you kindly assist us with what you can? And I've been sending appeals to people, to corporates, and people have been coming in handy. And then we agreed, we grouped our children in different schools. And we agreed with the teachers or the directors there, don't ever call our children as a name. Let them know any money we bring here, any money anybody pays is money for the Makimei children. So whenever they are in school, the amount we have of money we take, even if I take 10,000, it is not for Helen or Rachel. It is for the Makimei children. So we pay fees for them in clusters as how money comes. We have a girl who educates like the children I do in primary school. Sometimes not all of them. But when we take the money there, it is for the Makimei children. By God's grace, I got a lady friend who started assisting us with her friends in a process of 5 high schoolers, and bit by bit they are absorbing more high schoolers. We've also had people, God giving burdens to them, especially like this week. Next week is back to school. Helen, like how God used to send Lavens to Elijah, God has been sending people to me. Unapata tu mtu ameingia and this person comes and says, hi, I was doing shopping and paying fees for my children, and I felt the burden of paying 5,000 shillings for a child here, and this is one child shopping. Because once they get to class 5 onwards, we take them to boarding schools. And it hasn't been easy. Sometimes the school term ends when we are still in arrears. But we thank our schools where kids go to school, they're able to hold on with us. So if you allow me, I can make an appeal to Kenyans and to whoever is watching us today. A shilling matters. Even if it is 50 shillings, it will make an impact in the education of one child. And what I tell people, if you bring me cash in the home, what will happen? There's no infant formula. You said your money goes to school, I'll first buy infant formula. So whoever comes asking, we normally give them the school account or the children's home buy goods till number. That one goes to school fees. And can I tell you something that has happened here? We've got 7 in the university.
Wow.
And we've got 13 in the high school.
Congratulations.
And the rest are joining. Because we believe, I normally tell people, I am who I am because of the education I was given here. If I was never educated, maybe I may either I would be a person who nobody would love to look at, or I wouldn't have made an impact in this society. So in Makimei, education, we give it the greatest support we can. Child gets educated, it's a person who can stand on their own. If you get educated like the ones who are in the university, once you clear the university, what happens? You can stand on your own out there. Then you give us space to bring the others up.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Education, as you said, the education is the best gift you can give to your kids.
True.
Yes, and thank you for doing that for them.
You're welcome.
We appreciate you so much. Because of the cases that we've seen here, I know most of our viewers, and I personally would want to know what are the steps, or is it possible for someone to adopt a child from here, and what are the steps they can take to take up a child for adoption or to foster a child?
There's something we are doing here. We used to allow fostering in the home. Fostering is good, but one time we gave up our child for fostering, and the lady who took up this girl was not genuine. She wanted a house girl, but she told us she wanted to foster a child. So fostering means you take up a child to your house for 1 year, you renew, but you can only renew your fostering for 3 years only. Then that's over. And a child you have ever fostered, you cannot adopt. But for adoption, we have got the legal government adoption agencies. Because you know we're living in Kenya, whereby if children's homes are allowed to carry out adoption processes, wataanza kuuza watoto wakisema ni adoption. So the government has got legal structures. We've got the legal adoption agencies. You go to the adoption agencies, you give them your photo. If it is a couple, you give them your photo. There's a process that goes on. When we have these children here, we have a process in the law courts whereby after wazazi wametafutwa hawapatikani, the magistrate declares that this child is free for adoption. Once a child is declared free for adoption, the adoption agencies are the ones that go looking for a child that looks like you. So the first step in adoption is matching. They come to Makimei, they go to other children's home looking for a child who looks like Helen, for instance, or your spouse. Why do they match? Because we want to shield all our children against stigmatization. Ukipata mtoto mwenye anakaa wewe, chances are very minimal of people telling this child ulinunuliwa. But if you get a child that doesn't look like you are right-skinned, you get a very dark-skinned child, chances are that people will automatically tell this child even before you tell them. So there's a matching. Ukimachiwa, you start the process of bonding. If you bond with a child, you now start the legal process of adoption. It's possible, it's doable. The only prayer we are making to our government is, because adoption process in Kenya is a bit strict, if it can be eased a bit. Because again, we have got several children who have been adopted from here, but the process takes up to 2 years, and some parents give up along the way. If the period of time is maybe 1 year, 1.5 years, most parents will go for adoption. We've got 3 ways or 4 ways of exit. You can exit the home through reintegration. When your parents or your relatives are found, you are taken back to your relatives. After the government, through the probation officers, the social workers, understand that when you are taken back there, it's fit for you to survive. Exit number 2 is when you go through the adoption process. Exit number 3 is when you grow up. Like in our case, if you grow up, personally, I'm supposed to have exited this home long time. Because once you clear with education, we only give you a grace period of 6 months. Ukipata kamshahara, you save. 6th month, you exit, you go start staying on your own. The last one, which is very painful, is the one we talked about when somebody is deceased.
So if someone would be willing to adopt a child, they can.
They can, it's doable, but it's important to let our viewers know. It's possible when you follow the legal procedure. If you don't follow the legal procedure, you'll get the consequences. You've heard of cases whereby people are almost completing the process of adoption, but parents wameapia, wengine unasikia mtoto aliibiwa akawa adopted. Instead of all this pain, follow the legal procedure. It's beautiful, it has a happy ending and it's beneficial to all of us.
Rachel, what
Yes,
would
please.
you tell a girl out there who's pregnant and feeling hopeless and hoping that when she gives birth atatupa huo mtoto, or anyone out there listening to you, to your voice today, and God forbid in the future they get pregnant and they had not planned for it, and the only option that comes to their head is throwing the baby away? From your experience, what would you advise them?
First and foremost, I would like every girl, every mother out there, know that it is a blessing to become a mother. Like I said earlier on, I've got so many women who cry day and night coming to us. They want us to give them children because they don't have a child of their own. So once you get pregnant, once you get expectant, it is a blessing from God for you to become a mother. And no pregnancy is a mistake. So even if you feel it's a mistake, please don't abandon. Please don't procure an abortion if it is not a matter of life and death. We've got options. Like for instance, there was a time Bagadi Hospital was offering a process whereby you would go to them and tell them that you are expectant but you don't want this child. What happens? They'll give you the due dates, you go. Once you deliver, you're not charged. You leave the baby there. They'll give you 2 weeks. You go home, think if you want your baby or not. If you don't want your baby, you go sign a consent form. You give up your baby for adoption. If you want your baby, there's a process whereby you pay the bills and you carry your baby home. This is one avenue where if you're expectant, please carry your pregnancy to term, take your baby there. Don't abandon a naked baby. All the babies you have lost in this home, Helen, is a result of being abandoned when they are naked outside there in the cold. So please don't abandon. And to our government, some other countries have got even government-owned children homes, whereby you deliver, you don't want a baby, there's a place you take that baby. Instead of losing this life in the toilets, in the latrines, in all these places. Please, our government, if it is possible, let these girls who get pregnancy through rape, through incest, instead of killing or abandoning these children, let's get a process whereby you can deliver and give up your baby responsibly. Give up your baby bearing in mind that life belongs to God and life is sacred.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you so much, and I know our viewers are loving you. I'm loving this
humbled.
show because you've given us a lot of insight on things that personally I did not know, and I believe someone is going to be helped out there. And I want to trust that the government is going to hear our plea and is going to look into ways they can help the children's homes and also people supporting kids that are not there, and make the adoption process at least ease some rules kidogo. Thank you so much, viewer, for being on this show. I'm going to let Rachel tell us how we can reach you, and if someone is willing to bring their donation or to help, to assist in any way, be it school fees or Medicare or whatever, how they can get in touch with you.
Thank you, Helen, and your team for this opportunity. I will first start by saying that we are a home. We are located in Kikuyu, a place known as Gitaru Mlango Soko, just 100 meters from Gitaru Market. And then you can reach us on the following contacts. My mobile phone number is 0720-294-207. We've got Mama Margaret's phone number is 0725-550-397. In case of any donations, I normally tell people Makime is a home, just like your home. If you use unga in your home, we use unga. It's only that we use it in larger quantities. So any donation is most welcome. And for any monetary donations, kindly send your donations to our M-Pesa Buy Goods Till number 895412. For more information, people can visit our Facebook page, Makime Children's Home. They can still visit our website, makimechildren'shome.org, and still they can make personal visits. Because I believe, Helen, before you came here, what you saw is not what you thought.
what
Seeing
I
is
saw
believing,
here,
yeah?
My
And
God, you have a
heaven
big
come.
heart, I must say that. And today I think I'm going to start a journey, a single step. I'm
Sure.
going to look more into giving out also, because coming here I've realized how privileged maybe I've been, or my kids have been, and I would want to stretch my hand out to these kids. So thank you so much
you're
for having
welcome.
us. Yes.
And I normally also tell something else. I also tell parents, even if not coming to donate, bring your children to see the other side of life. I have had parents who have been having difficulties in parenting, especially the 8 years up to the teenagers. And once they bring them here, we have a talk. And children come out of this place learning to appreciate the little they get, learning to appreciate the fact that they have got parents, and learning to appreciate they have got a home and they have got somebody to listen to them. So thank you so much, Helen, for hosting me. And to our viewers, thanks for watching. May God bless you. May God keep you. May we take care of life.
Amen. Amen. May we take care of life. That is what Rachel is telling us. And thank you so much for being part of this show. If you are new on this channel, kindly consider subscribing to the channel. Click on that notification bell so that you get notified anytime we upload new content. And also give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you're liking our content. And also send your feedback, your queries, your questions, your concerns through my social media handles, which are Helen_Kibali on Instagram, Helen Kibali on YouTube, and Helen Kibali on Facebook. And surely we shall answer all your questions in the next coming shows. And we hope you're getting something from our shows, especially on parenting. We've highlighted this more because we want to bring up kids who are socially aware, who are confident and socially aware of themselves and their environment. And kindly watch our shows. The links are on the description below. Watch our shows, like, comment, share to your neighbor, share to your friend, a sister, a brother, and let them know that these shows can be helpful. Until next time, we want to believe that you're blessed. God bless you. Take care of you. Bye. See you next time.
This is High Step Media Production.
Je, wewe ni msanii na ungependa kuchukua hatua kabambe katika kuboresha usanii wako? Je, wewe ni msanii mpya usiyejua utaanza vipi katika kufanikisha usanii wako? Je, wahitaji kufanyiwa video za harusi, matukio, dokumentari, au pia kutengenezewa filamu na kupigwa picha? High Step Media ina majibu kwa masuala haya yote kwa bei rahisi. Tutembelee pale Homeland au wasiliana nasi kwa njia ya simu kupitia nambari 0706299166. Karibu.
Kazi yao wanafanya ni kazi nzuri sana. Nimefurahia sana kazi ambao wanafanya.
Come High Step Media Production. You never know, you can be a star of tomorrow.
Step Media kwanza wana upendo, ni wakarimu sana. Na kama ni wakarimu ndio maana tumefika hapa tumefika.